Hello, I'm making this video today to talk about circumcisions, and I'm going to be answering 10 different points and stating my opinion regarding the questions I've been given and points that I want to talk about while filming this video. First question is how would I rate myself on familiarity with the circumcision or circumcised genitalia? And I would say my familiarity is maybe 1 or 2. I honestly am not familiar at all. I've never seen one in person or anything like that. And so I really am not familiar. And I also have never done research on circumcisions. So I'm really unfamiliar when it comes to that. So that's why I say I would be a 1 or a 2. When did I first learn about what a circumcision is? I would say it would be in middle school to early high school. Honestly, it wasn't ever brought to my attention or anything during school. I think I just kind of found out through word of mouth, but I don't remember the exact time that I found out about it. Yeah, I don't remember the exact time, but I would say I was probably like a teenager or a preteen. To define a circumcision, I would say that it's the cutting of the skin that is around the male's penis. That would be my definition, I think, for a circumcision. Like I said, I'm not very familiar with it, so I can't really give a proper definition. I honestly don't even know if that's true. When is it performed? Usually it's done at birth, right after the male is born, but in some cultures and religions it's not done at all, and you can also get it later in life. It doesn't have to be done at birth. It's definitely very common for it to be done at birth, in my opinion, just based on who I've seen and what I've experienced and stuff like that. So I would say a majority of it's performed at birth. Why do Americans do it? Why is it so common in America? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Like I said, I'm not educated on this, and I haven't done my research whatsoever to give a valid reason. But I will say that it is definitely very popularized, and it is the norm for Americans to have circumcised penises, and for them to get it done at birth. I don't know if it's because of our demographic or our religious demographic. I'm not sure, but I would say it is very, very common for that in America. Am I for or against circumcised penises? I honestly, like I said, I don't have a opinion or stance on this. One, because I do not have a penis, so I can't give my opinion on that, on if I'm for or against them. I think that every man, that is for them to decide for themselves. So I can't really give any input to that question. What I can give input to is my preference. I would say I do prefer a circumcised penis, but that is because I've never experienced an uncircumcised penis. So if I experienced it, that would become my preference. But like I said, I've never experienced it. I'm not very educated on it, so it's pretty impossible for that to be my preference, since I've never had the opportunity to even decide if I prefer it. But I will say that I think I would still prefer a circumcised penis, even if I experienced an uncircumcised penis. Have I heard about the mutilation? People calling circumcisions mutilations. I have not heard about that. Like I said, I'm not very educated on this, and it's honestly really sad, and it makes me want to get educated, because it seems like this is a pretty large topic that people are concerned about, because it is true. You do get a permanent lifelong surgery or procedure done while you're an infant, and somebody else decides if you get it or not. So I completely understand why people could consider it a mutilation. I wouldn't say I agree that it's a mutilation, but it is also definitely like a thought-provoking statement and idea, and something to think about for sure. Does it happen within my family? I don't know for certain. I'm pretty sure yes. I've never talked about it with my family on if yes or no, but I assume, just because of, like I said, the norm in America and everything like that, I assume yes, it does happen within my own family. Lastly, would I get my own son circumcised? That's a really tricky topic. I don't know if I have the answer to that, to be completely transparent. I think that I need to do a lot more research before I decide that for my own child, to make sure I make a confident, educated decision for my son's the rest of his life, because he is an infant and can't make the decision for himself. So I want to make sure that I'm making a good decision for him if I decide to go through with it or decide to not go through with it. So I can't really give an answer to that right now. I would, if I had to give an answer right now before educating myself, I would say I would circumcise my son. But like I said, this is before any education on anything that has to do with circumcisions. So I really don't have a leg to stand on. But after answering all of these questions, this really was a thought-provoking experience, and I really want to kind of understand and grasp the world of circumcision and understand like how that affects men and how that decision really has an impact on men. Yep, bye.